Hey, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, call Halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, and of course, double honors of the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, all right, who deserve double honors and rule well, all right. This is Naaman with the DC camp, and in this video, all right, because these Edomites are trying to downplay a lot, especially when it comes to their involvement. You know, a lot of them still not willing to admit, all right, to what they've done and our treatment of the past and how it affects us now, all right. And if this continues, will more than likely continue to affect us because we were not allowed to, and this is at the forefront, this is due to the curses placed upon us, but these Edomites being the whipping stick of the Most High, if you will, all right. But they want, if left up to them, they would deny it all and try to hide it. And this is part of the Most High bringing this devil down. You know, when we go to, let's get a couple of scriptures here. Let's see. Let's go with, because we're in the era, ERA, of this devil being revealed for what and who he is. This is Isaiah chapter 25, verse 7. It says, "And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people." Everybody was in this under the spell. All right, I got my prepositions there messed up. Cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. All right, so yeah, everybody was blinded. Everybody had the wool pulled over their eyes, but now everything's because all the atrocities and just downright wickedness of these Edomites is being revealed to the world. All right. Because they all tried to make, you know, along with Edom, they all took up his, you know, he would always say, well, we're lazy and, you know, we just don't want to do right. And we're biologically inferior and all this other crap. All right. So let's go back to the article here. Now I've actually come in contact with some of these pieces of shit that this article is making reference to. And this is how the daughters of the Confederacy continue to influence racism. All right. It goes on to say, I've heard people say it in person and I've seen people say it online. The Civil War wasn't even fought over slavery. Stop believing what they tell you. Learn your history. Okay, cool. But that applies to you also. It says, before I'd taken the time to dig into this topic so I could form a solid rebuttal, I'd ask, but if it wasn't fought over slavery, what was it fought over? The answer is usually states' rights or money or northern overreach. The secession papers, written at the time of southern states' withdrawal from the Union, explicitly state that their right to continue owning slaves was the primary reason for seceding. How could anyone argue against this fact given that we have such plainly understood and easily accessible source material? And yet the argument persists, and not in small numbers. In a Pew study done in 2011, 48% of people surveyed believe the Civil War was fought over states' rights, compared to only 38% who said it was fought mainly over slavery. So even in this, all right, in our suffering, they just want to disannul it. All right, it says, where did the idea that the Civil War wasn't about slavery come from? It says, perhaps the greatest contribution to the lie that the Civil War was not about slavery comes from a group called the United Daughters of the Confederacy. This group influenced generations of Americans, especially in the South, to develop a softer, more forgiving view of those who fought on the side of the Confederacy, of those who fought to keep other human beings enslaved for their own financial gain. Who are the United Daughters of the Confederacy? Organized in 1894, the UDC claims it is the oldest patriotic lineage organization in the country. Their website states their goals as, among other things, to honor the memory of those who served and those who fell in the service of the Confederate States, to protect, preserve, and mark the places made historic by Confederate valor, to collect and preserve the material for a truthful history of the war between the states. So they try to elevate them to hero status. All right. It says the UDC is best known for its role in the erection of and ongoing defense of Confederate monuments. Their website claims the group has benevolent intentions and means only to preserve history, but looking at the objectives above, it is clear their agenda is meant to reach beyond objective truth. Valor? Can there be valor in fighting for the right to own other human beings? Only if you're dishonest about that's what was being fought for. And that's the thing. So in this twisted logic of theirs, all right, again, what I said earlier about dismissing anything having to do with our suffering, why? Because the curses. And these are the pieces of crap a lot of our people try to emulate. Not only them, but around the world. These Edomites are looked to as, when you understand what Lucifer really means, it means light bearer. People look up around the world, look up to these people as having the knowledge, the light, all right? But like I said earlier, there's an inscription on that. How does it go? Let me see if I can find it, Slocky. Shameful spewing. Let me see if I can get that. Let's see. Shameful. Let's see. There we go. Here it is. This is Habakkuk 2:16. It says, "Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Most High Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory." Let's look up that. All right. Shameful spewing. All right. And that's what's happening. All the dirt is coming out. Let's see. There we go. It's coming out on these devils that they thought was going to be hidden forever. This is Strong's H7022. Quayaqawam. All right. It says disgrace. All right. Intense. Not just disgrace, but intense disgrace. All right. So that's what we got now. Let's see. Vomitus. Oh, dang. All right. A sense which is given by, let's see. Look at the whole thing. Hold on. Nah, that didn't change anything. So that's what's happening to these devils now. Everybody's seeing them for who and what they truly are. All right. It says the UDC is most famous for erecting hundreds of Confederate statues across the southern United States and then fighting to preserve their placement when people pointed out how offensive and racist those statues were and asked for them to be taken down. But the UDC's other actions had even broader impact than the mere placement of statues memorializing white supremacist generals. All right. The group had a massive influence on the selection of school textbooks, getting them while they're early, all right, and history curriculums throughout the South. The UDC placed thousands of Confederate portraits and Confederate flags in public schools in the early 1900s. They hosted essay contests with themes such as the origin of the Ku Klux Klan and the right of secession. The Rutherford Committee of 1919 named for prominent UDC member and avowed, that means he was openly, white supremacist Mildred Rutherford, gathered members of the UDC and other Confederate heritage associations and produced a 23-page pamphlet called A Measuring Rod to Test Textbooks and Reference Books in Schools, Colleges, and Libraries. This pamphlet demands on page 5, reject a book that says the South fought to hold her slaves. All right. It elaborates in the coming pages with subheadings like the North was responsible for the war between the states. The war between the states was not fought to hold the slaves, and slaves were not ill-treated in the South. The North was largely responsible for their presence in the South. All right, when we talk about, we bring out those scriptures about division, in Mark 3rd chapter, all right, about a house divided shall not stand and all that, all right. Well, it's going to even become worse now. We're going back to that phase and even worse, all right. It says, distributing this pamphlet widely for decades, the UDC lobbied relentlessly and successfully across the southern United States, filling schools with textbooks that avoided or outright altered the truth of why the Civil War was fought. In addition to the pamphlet, Rutherford also published a book called Truths of History that expanded on the pamphlet's assertion that the South had been wronged by the North, that the North was the true aggressor, that the war was not fought over slavery. In this book, she included a black list of textbooks that were not to be included in Southern states' school curriculums. Her influence cannot be understated. State schools, school districts, and local communities greatly respected the UDC and its affluent, powerful members. They easily bent to the will of the UDC. All right. It says a textbook used, I'm going to wrap it up here, a textbook used in North Carolina called Young People's History of North Carolina taught curriculum from 1911 and into the 1940s is vague about the southern states' reasons for secession and contains passages like this. As a rule, the slaves were comfortably clothed, given an abundance of wholesome food, and kindly treated. Occasionally, some hard-hearted master or bad-tempered mistress made the lot of their slaves a hard one, but such cases were not common. Cruel masters and cruel mistresses were scorned. Then just as men and women who treat animals cruelly are now scorned. Wow. These slaves were brought into the colonies fresh from a savage life in Africa, and in 2 or 3 generations were changed into respectable men and women. This fact shows better than any words can how prudently and how wisely they were managed. Get a load of that. This is the devil meaning liar and deceiver, that you've always been dealing with. Why this matters today. A not insignificant segment of the U.S. population believes the bloodiest conflict fought on American soil was fought over a vague, nebulous idea about states' rights, that the North was an aggressor and the South a hapless yet heroic victim, that slavery was peaceful and enjoyable for the enslaved, and that the Ku Klux Klan was a reasonable, if not estimable, organization. Generations of American children attending public school in the South, estimated to be close to 70 million in number, were taught these twisted narratives between 1889 and 1969, the height of the Jim Crow era. Based on the 2011 Pew study and conversations held anywhere in the southern United States, the myths persist. So there you have it. Lies upon lies upon lies, done on purpose. All right. Why? Because in their heart and their mind, they know that they done fucked up. All right. So, in another way, also, this is to try to offset prophecy. in for the simple reason that everybody's catching on to who we really are. All right, and hey, you done put your hands on the wrong people. This is Zechariah 2:8. It says, "For thus saith the Most High Yahweh, the Lord of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you, for he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye." All right, let's go into that word spoil. For those of you that don't know, spoil. That's Strong's H7997, shalal. All right, to plunder. All right, as a prey. All right, and that's what we have been. All right, and you know what I got to get after I said that. Let's see. Here's a good one right here, down in the Gesenius Hebrew Chaldee Lexicon, to draw off the skin. What's the skin? All right, knowing who we really are. They kept that from us. All right, make sure we wouldn't get it. All right, by what? Continually lying to us, talking about we're African and all this. We're not Hamites. Even the Africans aren't Africans when you know where that word comes from. It's a surname of a so-called white man during the Punic Wars. All right, the Roman Punic Wars with Hannibal. All right, and his brother's last surname was Asiaticus. All right. All right, so I believe that is going to be it. Yeah, lies upon lies upon lie to keep us off balance. Psalm 73, keep us from ever becoming a nation again. They all consorted together. All right, all these other nations. All right, so I'm gonna leave it right there once again. Let me get the article. They all conspired. Everybody wants to talk about it's conspiracy. Well, it has been a very up until recent decades, a very well kept secret. All right, it is a conspiracy. Once again, the article is how the daughters of the Confederacy continue to influence racism. All right, so that's why things are speeding up so quickly now, because again, they know who we are, and they know that hey, there's consequence for the actions that they've committed against us. And they know who's coming back. There's too many things happening in outer space, if you've been keeping up with stuff like that. All right, these weird celestial events, the chariots of the Most High being spotted all over the world and in the skies. All right, so yeah, time is short. Like I said in my last video, it's time to get your spiritual affairs in order. All right, because things are going to continue to speed up. All right, this man's trying to establish his wicked new world order. All right, because he thinks like Psalms 49:11 said, he thinks his house is going to continue to forever, and he's trying to make plans for that. All right, so with that, I hope whoever views this video is edified. That's what we're here to do, in the hopes of waking up the remaining hopefully elect that's out there. All right, so with that, call hello Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rakal, and of course, once again, double honors go out to the apostles of Great Millstone, who rule well. All right, this is Naaman. Shalom.